Hello there, fellow airsofters and engineers alike. My name is Mark Dannemiller, and I'm going to be running this Archon Airsoft channel. The goal of this channel is basically going to be combining engineering and airsoft. So I'll be taking you through my entire design process and build process through all these projects, and basically just kind of showing you how you can really boost your game and build some cool things, and just kind of share what I love to do. This first video is actually just going to be an ideas video in which I will share with you one of my first ideas that I'm going to be documenting on this channel. So I just hope you enjoy this video on my interesting take on controlling an airsoft gun. Okay, so I've been getting some parts coming in, and one of them actually allows me to do this. So this is a Powershield for the Particle Photon. The Particle Photon, what's cool about it is it can actually connect to Wi-Fi and Bluetooth. So I'm going to try to make an Android app for my airsoft gun. This is going to sit inside of the airsoft gun and actually just kind of replace the MOSFET and use a motor controller to run the motor of the gun. That way I can change the rate of fire and you know, do some burst selection, just that type of thing. So basically I'm going to have a computer inside of my gun that I can communicate with via my phone. And this will actually allow me to do a few things. It'll actually, first off, it'll allow me to lock my gun until I send an identification using my phone. So my gun, I can just have it locked until I Bluetooth up with my phone. And obviously, I'll probably have some sort of bypass for this, just because, you know, if I don't have my phone, or if my phone's dead or something like that, it's not really going to be ideal. But that's just a cool little thing. Also, it's kind of a fun party trick, because what it means is that whenever I have my gun out on the field and someone's using it, or I'm showing somebody it, I can just press a button on my phone and it turns it off. That'll be pretty interesting, if I do say so myself. As well as I should be able to effectively shoot the gun from my phone. Which will actually go into a project that I'm using these 20 kilogram per centimeter stall torque servo motors, which is actually what this was right here. It was a prototype of. So I had this run by an Arduino. Oh wait, no I didn't. I had it run by the Photon. I basically had the Photon running this small little servo motor in there, if you can see it. Just turning this base. But I have CAD modeled a much bigger base that I am going to post a video on. But my original idea for this Photon project was to use these relays, and so the idea, actually let me go get the circuit real quickly. Be right back. Okay, so here's the circuit. So the idea is that the normal line of communication, or just the normal circuit, is that I'm using a Crytek Trident Mark II, so it has a built-in MOSFET. Basically how it works is it goes through this fuse, which protects the entire electrical system. And then this red wire, one goes to the trigger and one goes to the motor. And the reason for that is because for most airsoft guns, this red wire goes to the trigger and then comes out to the motor. But once you get to, if you notice I'm using 11.1 Lipo, which is what that is right there, that actually can cause arcing in the trigger, which is not good for the whole electrical system. It can burn out your trigger and so cause some other electrical issues possibly, but not too much. It's mostly just for the trigger. So by having a MOSFET, it's just reading off of this signal wire for the trigger contact, and then it closes the system. So I have the wire going to the motor, and then it would be going, this whole system would not be there. It would just be going straight to the MOSFET, and then the MOSFET would be closing the system. What I was going to add is actually 2 relays. So, in case you guys are wondering, these are what relays look like. Basically, what it was going to be, whenever it's in just a normal open circuit, which means these relays are not powered, or this one specifically is not powered, it's just going to go straight to the MOSFET, just going to use the normal system. But if this relay is powered, it's going to start going to this relay. And if this relay is off, it's not going to shoot, but every time the Photon tells this relay to energize, it's going to close the circuit and fire the motor. That way I could turn it on to manual control, or I could turn it on to control via the Photon. The problem with this, there's actually not really much of a problem with this. It would work. I mean, the only problem with it is that you're either in a computer-controlled system or the manual system, and that'll work. But I had a friend actually suggest to me, why even include the MOSFET in the system at all? Because essentially what the MOSFET is, it's just some simple electrical components that read the signal wire and close the circuit. I have a much more complicated microcontroller that can do that same job and a lot more. So instead, I'm going to get rid of these relays and instead replace the photon and the power shield. The power shield is because the photon can actually only take, I think, like 5 to 7 volts, somewhere around there, which is not anything what I'm going to be using. So the power shield can actually take up from 7 volts to 20 volts, and it can power the photon. And yeah, so it's basically just a power step down. But basically I'm going to use this photon in place of the MOSFET, get rid of these, maybe add some sort of motor controller as well. And if I add a motor controller, then that's what it will allow me to control the rate of fire of my gun, as well as some burst fire and that sort of thing. So that's my idea for this. I was going to call it the Photon Remote Airsoft Control System, or PRAX. Right now I'm waiting on some, I need to get some 16 gauge wire, because, here, I'll show you the Trident Mark II. It's actually this right here, in case you guys were wondering what my model of gun was. It's the Krychak Trident Mark II-M, so it's an SPR. But I might start out just on this M4 system right there. Yeah, so that's what's going on for this project, and I guess I'll keep you posted on how I do this, as well as how I do my actual turret project. And I have a drawing here. There we go. That's the drawing for the turret, and that's going to get built hopefully this week, or probably more likely next week. But anyways, thanks for watching, and I'll keep you updated on everything that I'm doing, and hopefully get this project working pretty awesomely. So anyways, guess until next time.